Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about the culture and socialization. As in my previous class, I mentioned about the culture and socialization. A general views I had given you in that class. What is the culture? What the subjects say included in the culture as a complex whole. Culture is what? Culture is a complex whole, understand, and which the we which the we learn living in the society or amongst the in our society. So now we see that ki culture generally everyday conversation in a general language, in a general terms, generally or conversation. Culture is what? Culture is generally it is called and confined to the arts or alludes to the way of life of certain classes or countries. Now in general language we say that what is the culture? Culture is the art of living. We say now in the previous class I said that culture includes the all the subjects, not all the subjects. In a broader sense the culture includes all the subjects, but in general sense culture what? Culture is just like the art, dance, drama, religion. This comes under the culture, understand, in generally or culture of the any class or the culture of any country of the world, understand. Sociologist or anthropologist now study the culture in a social context. Now they study and now the which culture exists, social context, where the where culture exists in a society. In a social bracket, the culture existed, and these sociologists and the anthropologists now they take culture apart to try and understand the relations between the its various aspects. What is the relation of the culture with the various aspects of the life? Means we have the different aspects. What are the different aspects? Political aspect, economic aspect, social aspect, religious aspect, understand, and the dance, music, drama, all aspects of the life the culture includes in that. So, what is the relations of the culture amongst the different walks of the life? This is the main factor of a study, or the theme of the study by the anthropologist or by the sociologist. And now we know that now we need culture to conduct or behave yourself in society. We need culture. Without the culture, we can't conduct ourselves as the behave in society. How do we behave? How do we behave in society? We behave in society like the as a culture. What the cultures? Namaskar, sit down, calm, calm, understand, soft speaking, respect, regard, all what comes. This is the culture. So now behave and conduct what we conduct in the society. These conducts we learn from the society, and the which is learned. Culture is a common understanding. Culture is what? We living in the society, we understand a common understanding, which it is the learned, developed through the social interaction with other in society, and this develop culture developed by our social interaction in the society. Child learn, you learn all the things in the society. How? You always interact with the society. Your our behaviors, culture, all things we. So this interaction, a continuous interaction in the society. This is the now this now brings the development in the culture. This develops the culture. Our interaction is the base of the developing of the culture, and moreover, common understanding within a group demarcates it from the other, gives it as the identity. Common, now here, a common understanding within a group. I have to say that the culture in different society, culture develops differently. Different society, culture develops differently, and the demarcation amongst these culture, amongst the developed culture, in the amongst these societies, developed culture. So this is called as the this makes a separate or exclusive identity of a particular culture. Particular culture. This makes the identity of a particular culture. And but culture are never finished products. It means that culture is not that the goods and manufacturers, one will inhale and it will be the finally finished. No, culture always exists, or it is the not finished product. It continues and always changing and evolving. Culture, what culture happens? I have taught you now. Culture always changing. I have given the example that from the Vedic period, right from later Vedic period, culture change a little bit. Mahabharat period, culture change a little bit, and then after in the medieval period, a certain extent our culture just culture changed, or in a modern period after the advent of the British in India, the culture changed. The cultural a very rapid cultural change happened, but keeping it certain its basic features. We changed, but the basic features never changed. The culture is completely not deleted. It gradually changed. It gradually amended and brought the change. Understand? So now we see, and culture now by the changing, culture evolves. Culture, some the good thing in the culture evolves. And the bad things of the culture, now it is the eradicated by the passage of the time. Understand? When anything, any customs, maybe once maybe relevant, but present time that that practice would not be the should not be the relevant today. That will be the discarded. Understand? The culture evolves and culture develops always, and moreover, elements constantly being added. New things are in the culture. I have taught added. Many of the new elements have been added in the. If you compare, sit and compare the medieval times, medieval people, ancient people. We think if people are the modern people, we are, and then the compare how many things have been added or added in our language, in our dance, drama, in our food habits. Many things, new culture have been added. Our building styles, speaking, our compliments, all changes have been added. New things have been added, and moreover, the old things, many old things we see that these are the being eroded or deleted, being deleted, and moreover, and expanded. Culture expands. Something is a part of culture. Some traditions, in that tradition, new things are added gradually, and it's the expanded. So this or shrunk culture sometimes shrunk. Once any festivals would have been celebrated broadly everywhere, but gradually it is the shrinking and only remain the part of certain many things we see that, and moreover, and the rearranged culture is also rearranged, or this makes culture dynamic as a functioning unit. So adding, expanding, deleting, all these the things, all these factors now makes the culture a dynamic culture. Dynamic, always be in motion, motion of changing, deleting, or expanding. So this makes the culture very dynamic. Understand? And moreover, the capacity of individuals to develop a common understanding with others. What they say to learn a culture, an individual should have the capacity to learn with the others from the family, from the society. We learn a lot some or draw the same meanings from sign and symbols. What distinguishes now the sign, symbol, recognitions, all things, values of the life. This distinguishes us. This makes differ us from the animals. Makes differs. And creating meaning is a social virtue. And the new meaning we now create. So this is comes in under our social values. We can see. And moreover, we are the others in families of the group. We now come under the families or the group. We learn, and in the communities we learn the use of the techniques, tools, techniques. Many things are before us. How do we learn? We learn from our families. We learn from our friends group, our schools, from our colleges, and the non-material sign or symbols through interaction with family members. Now the materialistic thing, this world is the full of the materialistics and the non-materialistic thing. So non-materialistic thing we generally learn from the family, and materialistic things is the lying around us. We learned about that, the name, the function of those things, and the materials we now learn. Now the and from the friends we now learn a lots of things from our friends, from our colleagues, and from the different settings. We learn a lot of things from friends and different settings. We know that much of this knowledge is systematically described and the conveyed either orally and through the books. Most of the learnings and the treasure of the knowledge, whether it is the transmitted through orally or whether in the text form we find or in a written form we find. Now let's say, for example, we can say the culture, body language is also a part of culture. Through the body language, through the indications, we now tell a lots of things without speaking, without uttering anything, any word. We now express lots of things, a lots of meanings we convey to the others. What is this? This is also developed in the culture, part of the culture. So we say, moreover, this learning prepares us for carrying out our roles. And these all learnings, what we learn in the society, this now prepares us. This makes and make us fit and the full of knowledge to play our role in the society, to play our role in the society, and the many responsibilities we soldier responsibilities, and we conduct or exercise our responsibility. We give vent to our responsibilities in our life, holding a status, a role, a position. And that status and role and position now we draw from where? From the culture. We draw from the culture. So now here, what the learn? The role, primary socialization. There are two kind of the socialization. Further, we shall study in further topics in details. There are two types of the learning: the primary learning and the secondary learning. Primary learnings we learn at home, with our family, with our relatives, and the secondary learnings like the school, where we go, you learn a lots of knowledge or interaction happens with your friends, classmates, your teachers, where you learn a lots of things. But this is the secondary learning. Primary learning, how to speak, utter, family relations, family customs. This is the primary learning at the students. Now we know very well that the human we live in a different kind of the natural settings. There are different kinds of the somewhere the plains, hills, rivers, rivers, mountains. Somewhere we see that we see plateau. The different kinds of the in the forest, different kind of the topographies and the geographical settings where we live. People understand, and our culture, what a geographical settings. So now the geography of a country makes the culture. Geography means the what the production, what kind of the area is. Our culture develops from the geographical setups under the lap of a geography. The which kind a culture differed from one place to other place. This is the due to the geographical setups. We we mold ourselves, adapt ourselves according to the geography of the place where we live and where we are living. Where we are living, according to that, our cultures, the many cultures develop. Suppose that in the hilly area of Uttarakhand, and one culture that is the Tamil Nadu. So this is the difference is why the difference is because of the geographical settings. Different according to the geographical settings, these changes happens. And Rajasthan, the costumes, the food habits, what how the lands of Rajasthan, what the gives, that is their food habits and the culture part of. In the Bengal, what do they have the cultures? That is the setup and the land setups and the abundance of the what the geography now provides. According to that, the culture develops. I am talking that here we now these islands, river valley, they also inhabit different social setup. Like in village, we live in the village, in towns, or with the big cities. Or now people adapt the different strategy to cope with the natural and social conditions. We now develop a different strategies for cope with the natural or the social conditions. This leads to the emergence of a diverse ways of life and culture. Whatever the geography and topography provides us, the now according to that we cope with, and now nature makes our culture. Nature, culture develop from the nature of that place. Understand? So now this our life and cultures grows. Life and culture, our culture grows according as the diverse, diversely. Why? According because it's develops in the different geographical conditions, different geographical positions. One thing now disparities in coping mechanism were evident during the one example we are going to take from the tsunami. We know 26th December 2004. Okay. Now This is the quite evident disparities in coping mechanism. How to escape from this great devastating tsunami. Escaping from this was a mechanism, and which affected some parts of the, and this tsunami no doubt affected some part of the Tamil Nadu and the Kerala coast, or Andaman or the Nicobar Islands in our country particularly. People on the mainland and islands are integrated into the relatively modern way of the life. These islands, along these islands, the coastal area, the people have now developed a modern way of the life, very modern way of the life, and like the fisher folk, service holders, service holders, caught unaware of the suffered. They were before the advent of the tsunami. They were very much unaware. Now they have become and the insurmountable, understand, by the science and technology, and the tsunami will not do anything. They were unaware of that danger. On the other hand, primitive tribals community who were there in island Onges, Jarawas, Great Andamanese, or Sompens who had no access to the modern science and technology. These tribals had no any access to the science and technology. No. But even then, they now escaped from the death killer of this tsunami. How? This is the very remarkable. This is the very much worth is thinking that how these people who were supposed to be the tribals, uncultured. Generally, people say that they are uncultured, or now foresee foresaw the calamity based on their experiential knowledge. Now, they who had no access to the modern science and technology foresaw the calamity based on their experiential knowledge and saved themselves by moving on the higher grounds. These tribals now saved them. They had already perception and the already predictions they had. Now, how to save from the tsunami, and tsunami is about to come. And this precision they had, and now because of that precision, they escaped and moved towards the highland, where this tsunami could not touch them, could not destroy them. So here we are seeing that the moving on the higher ground, we saw that having access to modern science does not make modern culture superior. Here I told you now, the modern culture does, does not make a person superior. It is not means that an educated man is the more much cultured, and not a uneducated man is the not cultured. I have already mentioned it. No, this is not so. Having the this is not so. Uneducated people have a lots of knowledge. For example, today MNCs are taking on the agricultural field, coming and entering in the agricultural field, and devising new devices and the new technology in the agriculture. But do you know their technology is the harmful? and the good and the much knowledge, lots of knowledge we have in our traditional agriculture. The farmers had a lots of knowledge, and the lots traditional knowledge of the farming. Those knowledge are knowledge much more advantageous even in the present time than the technological application in the field of the agriculture without any harm. Our traditional knowledge is the much beneficial rather than the technological knowledge. So how can we say that a person of the having the knowledge, science and technology, and person having the no knowledge of science and technology, he is the uncultured, and the having the science and technology, the person is much cultured. No, no at all. Now here we can see that this is the having access to modern science and technology make modern culture superior and the tribal culture of the islands. Here we can compare the science and technological knowledge is not superior, could not be proved superior than the traditional knowledge of the tribes who were living in the islands. Hence, culture can't be ranked. Culture can't be ranking. First rank, second rank, no, never. Culture can be judged. It can be not ranked. It can be the judged culture and can't be judged, but can be judged adequate or inadequate in terms of their ability. Adequate or inadequate in terms of their ability cope with strains imposed by the nature. It can be the judged in terms of adequate or inadequate in the cope with the nature. So the culture, understand, culture had its very broad sense. Only having the educated, this after being an educated, you can be the very refined man. You can be the very we have the perception, understanding, but the uncultured person, not uncultured, but the traditional persons have their understanding within the traditions, and we have to be the look into the look into that tradition, what the person is possessing. This is the traditional importance of the knowledge which made safer to those islanders, tribals, to which we now, to which we saw, and the technological or the advanced people saw them as a rustic or as a undeveloped and uncivilized. This notion is completely now. This notion is the wrong. Students, we have now studied about the culture, and the next class, whether I shall hold in that class, we shall study the defining the culture in a very broad sense. What is the culture? What comes under the culture? Understand? So we said, I hope you will have understand and go through, read out the books again and again. Understand? You should study your books or try to understand. I have given the explanation about the culture now. So you go through that culture. And students in your examination, uh, chapters will come, uh, three chapters in this sociology. Understand? Or that Three chapters. I This is the fourth chapter now. This is the going on. No, previous chapters you have to be previous chapter. Leaving this chapter will not complete by the because it will take the time. Previous chapters, three chapters, we shall study. First, I suppose that the chapter say first chapter, second chapter. Understand in sociology, in history, the history student is not here, but two chapters in history. First, writing, understand, and cities and writing, and the three continents of empire across the three continents. Understand that it will be the subject of study. Okay, you will prepare two chapters from history. First chapter is deleted, then city and writing, Mesopotamian civilization, or the Roman Empire. Two chapters. Okay, Islamic world I am teaching that will continue. Visual. Thank you very much.